Hey, what's going on, guys? Meiko Riviera here, and welcome to another video. Now, in this video, I want to take another break from doing vlogs and taste test videos and discuss a movie that's genre is possibly considered horror. Now, before I get any further into this video, I just want to mention a few things. One, if you guys have not already subscribed to my channel, Meiko Riviera Vlogs, then I highly recommend that you do that because I post new videos every Friday and Sunday. And the other thing I want to mention is that if you guys have not seen my other videos like this video you're watching right now, which I've done is Gremlins a horror movie and is Jurassic Park a horror movie. So if you guys have not seen those videos, I will put those videos up here somewhere, and they'll also be in the card system. So in case you guys want to go check those videos out and drop a like on those videos, you absolutely can. Now, the movie that we're going to be discussing and determining whether its genre is horror or not today, in this video, is, of course, one of three remakes. Now, the original movie was shot in black and white a whopping 85 years ago in 1932. And if you guys haven't figured it out already, the movie in question is, of course, The Mummy. Now, like I said, the original was shot in black and white 85 years ago in 1932, and it starred legendary British actor Boris Karloff as the Mummy. Then, in 1959, there was a colored version starring Sauruman from Lord of the Rings himself, Christopher Lee, as the Mummy, and that was the first of the three remakes. The second remake was 40 years later after the Christopher Lee remake in 1999. And then the third and final remake is actually coming out this June of 2017, and it will star Tom Cruise. Not as the Mummy, but as the main hero character, basically, that defeats the Mummy. So Tom Cruise will be in that, coming out this June of 2017. But the 1999 Brendan Fraser remake is the Mummy remake that we're going to be talking about and discussing whether its genre is horror or not today. Now, you're probably wondering, well, Meiko, isn't it considered horror already because it's a movie about a mummy? Well, not necessarily. Because the one from 1932, the Boris Karloff original, and the 1959 Christopher Lee remake are automatically both considered horror. And back when they came out, they were rated PG. Yeah, ratings were weird back then. But if you're wondering, what was the 1999 one rated? PG-13. Now, you're probably wondering, also, why wasn't this movie R? For those of you that have seen it, there are some pretty creepy scenes in the Brendan Fraser remake from 1999. Not to mention the Mummy character in the 1999 Brendan Fraser remake is played by South African actor Arnold Vosloo, however the heck you pronounce his name, because I'm not South African and I don't know how to pronounce his name, so Vosloo, however the heck you pronounce it. But anyway, that's who portrays him. And you're probably wondering, in the 1999 remake of The Mummy looks like he's around 6'4", 6'5" in height. Well, Arnold Vosloo, or Vosloo, again, however the heck you pronounce his name, isn't actually that far off in height. Arnold Vosloo, or again, Vosloo, however the heck you pronounce his name, is actually 6'2", which isn't that short, as many people think it is. I mean, it's not like 7 feet or anything, but it's still not short. But the reason that this movie is PG-13, aside from being PG in the 50s and 30s, this 1999 remake has a couple scenes where Arnold Vosloo, or Vosloo, as the mummy, sucks his victims dry into greenish-brown corpses in order to regenerate into a human again. Now, that alone is pretty scary. But keep in mind that, like I said, this movie was PG-13 when it came out in 1999. And the mummy in the 1932 original Boris Karloff film that was in black and white, Boris Karloff's mummy doesn't suck anyone dry into corpses, and Christopher Lee's mummy doesn't do that either. In fact, Arnold Vosloo, or Vosloo, his mummy from the 1999 remake is the only mummy so far to actually suck his victims dry into greenish-brown corpses to, again, regenerate. Now, the other reason that this movie from 1999 is PG-13 instead of PG, like it would have been if it came out in the 1930s or 1950s, is because the 1999 remake of The Mummy himself is pretty creepy. Now, aside from computer generation and CGI, the Mummy effects were also done practically as well. And let me explain this. For those of you that have seen the movie, the 1999 remake, you'll notice that in one of the scenes, there's fiery balls of hail or something like that that rains down in Egypt. Well, those fiery balls of hail were actually dried dog food painted white. Yeah. Pretty freaky, huh? And at some parts of the film, the mummy, when he was an actual walking corpse, some of the scenes were actually done with special effects monster makeup. And the other scenes, like the scene where he sucks people dry, was done with CGI. And not to mention, when Brendan Fraser's character is in the Cairo prison, or wherever the heck they are, I think they're somewhere in Egypt. But anyway, when Brendan Fraser's character, Rick O'Connell, is in the prison in Egypt, his character is actually being hanged for real on set. Yeah, when Rick O'Connell in The Mummy was actually hanged in that Egyptian prison, like I said, that was not CGI. That was actually actor Brendan Fraser being hung by his neck by a rope. And Brendan Fraser was actually this close to dying on set, which we're lucky and fortunate that he did not pass away on set, and he's still healthy and living today, thank God. But it is scary thinking about that he was this close to death on set, which, unfortunately, for actors, coming that close with death happens quite a lot. But anyway, back to The Mummy. Now, I'm actually going to show you a picture of The Mummy that I found on Google Images on my phone. And for any of you watching this that do not like frightening images, or if you are people who get scared easily, then as a little warning or disclaimer, I highly recommend that you do not watch this part of the video. Because if you are a person who gets scared easily or does not like scary monsters or scary movie villains or anything like that, and you get nightmares from that kind of stuff, then, like I said, I highly recommend that you skip past this part in the video, because this next part in the video will contain a frightening images of the Mummy from the 1999 Brendan Fraser remake. You guys have been warned, and I don't want anything in the comments saying, "Oh my god, Meiko Riviera didn't warn us about showing us a scary image of a mummy from a movie." Because I most assuredly did. I gave you a nice, clear warning, and for those of you that have remained to stay, you guys are brave. So, my question to you guys is, how the heck did this creepy looking mummy get into a PG-13 rated film? I mean, how is something like this not considered horror? And just as a comparison, I'll quickly show you what he looks like when he's regenerated, if I can find it. Here we go. So, that's what Imhotep, played by Arnold Vosloo, looks like when he's fully regenerated in the film. And he's actually much better looking as a humanoid-looking creature than that ugly skeletal mummy brown thing I showed you a few seconds earlier. And that mummy that I showed you, that is him before he's regenerated, still scares me to this day, which is pretty rare for movies with frightening images to scare your boy Meiko, but this movie did scare me the first time I saw it, and it's one of the few movies that actually still scares me to this day that has a PG-13 rating. So, what can we gather from this video? We can gather that maybe the 1999 remake of The Mummy could have been rated R, and that it also could be categorized as an action-adventure / horror film, because the original category for The Mummy from 1999 is actually action-adventure and not horror like the 1932 original and the first 1959 remake. Yeah. The Mummy from 1999, which has an image of that mummy that I just showed you, which is, again, I'll quickly show you again, if I can find it again. Oh, I can't even find it. Oh, there is another picture of him as the mummy, and he's in his corpse form. There is some of his mummy servants, which again are very, very creepy, and these guys almost made the film be rated R. And possibly the thing that scared me the most. Now, again, this whole section of the video does include scary images like you guys just saw, but this is what his first victim looks like, as a greenish-brown, sucked-dry corpse. This is what I'm talking about. Like, just like I said with the mummy appearance, how is that guy not horror? Like, honest to God, how did that get into a PG-13 rated film? Just because this should be rated R. This is creepy and does not deserve to be in a PG-13 rated film. But back to what I was saying. Could The Mummy possibly be considered horror? Like its other two original from 1932 and the first remake from 1959? Could the 1999 action-adventure film be considered horror? Well, I can tell you that 100% it absolutely can. Because maybe the new category that your boy Meiko is making The Mummy from 1999, according to me, is action-adventure, because I'll agree there are some action scenes in there when they're fighting the mummies. It's pretty cool, and there are some adventure scenes in there as well. When they go and find the treasure and the hidden temples and stuff like that, it's pretty cool. But it's also considered horror because of all the frightening images I just showed you. Like, again, how the heck did any of that kind of stuff get into a PG-13 rated film? Stuff like this is the stuff of an R-rated film, not a PG-13. But, in all honesty, as frightening and as horrific as The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser from 1999 may be, it's still a pretty good film, and a pretty decent remake, if you ask me. And that is unfortunately going to wrap up this video. I know I could go on with these videos forever, but that's going to wrap up this video. Until next time, I'm Meiko Riviera. Stay positive, dream big, and I'll see you in the next video.